So if you live in California, you've been to California, especially southern central California, up into northern, not so much the deserts, but coastal, there's lots and lots of mountains, and that means there's lots and lots of big rocks. Now, the rocks are cool, but what is also cool is that all these rocks host their own little ecosystems of plants and animals and things that could only live because of these rocks. They might not be able to compete with larger plants or more aggressively growing plants. A lot of these grow very slow, but they're not just plants. So what is going on in these rocks? So these guys are lichen. So a lichen is not technically a plant. It is making energy from the sun, but what it is a fungus. So something like, mushroom in your yard has partnered. They're shaking hands. They're saying, "Hey, let's work together with an algae or other photosynthetic tiny organism," and they partner together and they say, "Hey, alone, we can't do that much. I'm a fungus, so I can't eat the rock. Usually, I can't live on here. But hey, you photosynthesize, so I'm going to give you a place to live. I'm going to keep you safe from the elements, and you just make enough food for both of us." So that's why they're all kind of greenish, sometimes reddish. They look like plants, but they're not plants. And then, I don't see any, but they do have what they call fruiting bodies. So probably where this is, there was a fruiting body, but that's how they spread their spores. So little spores contain the fungus and the algae, and they spread and they grow over this rock, but they grow most of them, especially in a place like California, grow extremely slow. Because they're only growing a little bit a year when they get a little bit of moisture, a little bit of rain, a little bit of fog. So some of these might have been on the rock. So this colony here, size of my hand, who knows? Maybe that's 100 years old, 50 years old, maybe it's 1,000 years old. Especially some places like deserts and things where there's just not a lot of moisture. And they're growing super slow. You can see there's some green ones, there's some grayish ones mixed in. And then as we walk over here, we find another thing that is indeed a true plant. Not a vascular plant, that is, it doesn't have internal structures like a tree or a bush or a grass would, but it's still a plant, and that's our mosses. And right now they're looking a little rough. Had a little rain the other day, but still pretty dry. But these mosses and lichens live on this rock, and then things live off of them, little insects. Sometimes there's other little plants that can grow on rock or in rock. California doesn't have too many, but if you get to the tropics, you'll find things like bromeliads and orchids and things that basically just grow on the rock, and they absorb moisture through the rain and the air, and they get their nutrients from dust and fallen leaves. But you can see a big rock like this is just covered and has its own little ecosystem, and all because these little weird plants and little weird lichens can live here.